Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a sports betting perspective. With pro handicappers Alex B. Smith and veteran sports writer Jimmy Murphy. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. Sunday, December 5th, Ian Cameron flying solo, an abbreviated edition of the show today on this Sunday. This will be, due to time constraints, this will be the most brief analysis you've ever heard from me, and that's saying something for an NHL card. But we are going to blast right on through these 6 NHL games on Sunday because we make it our promise and our vow on this show to give you 7 days a week coverage in every single game, and we live up to that promise. So 6 games, let's get to it. We'll start with San Jose and Columbus on this Sunday card. Columbus minus 120, home favorites, 5.5 being the total in this game. The Sharks continuing their road trip, an impressive performance, an impressive effort really against the Rangers, losing 1-0 the other night. Once again, James Reimer very good in net. But unfortunately, the Sharks get shut out by the combination of Shesterkin and Georgiev in net for the Rangers. Of course, that was the game Shesterkin got injured in the third period, and then Georgiev had to take over. Rangers win 1-0. Columbus, 4 straight losses for them against St. Louis, Nashville, Dallas, and Washington. So they're on a bit of a slide right now. They'll look to right the ship here, second of back-to-back games for them as they return home. Going to be very interesting here what this team does from a goaltending perspective. We know that right now they've got a lot of question marks there with Elvis Merzlikins currently dealing with an illness throughout the last few days. And of course, Jonas Korpisalo, who's actually in some trade rumors right now, he remains on the IR. So where this team goes for goaltending on the second of back-to-back games is going to be very interesting. You know, they might just have to ride Merzlikins, or Tarasov, I should say, for a second straight game. Although, as I look right now, it looks like there's a chance Merzlikins might be in here for this game tonight, might be available at least. He was backing up Tarasov Thursday and actually was backing him up last night as well. So it was Tarasov last night. Merzlikins was available to back up the last 2 games. So this illness can't be that bad for him. So there's probably a chance he's in net for the Blue Jackets tonight. Back-to-back situation for them. If San Jose goes with Reimer, I might lean San Jose here in this game. Again, when you're talking about a team that's struggling and skidding and losing 4 in a row like the Jackets are, with those teams that are on streaks, you know what I always say. I like to bet against them, not bet on them when they're on a losing streak. And just like when a team's on a winning streak, I want to bet on them, not bet against them. So I would lean San Jose here, lean over as well at 5.5. But I was thinking we'd see Tarasov again. If we see Merzlikins, I'd probably stay right off the total, because if it's Merzlikins in net, he's obviously the best goalie the Jackets have, and he's actually got pretty good numbers this year, 2.61 goals against average, 923 save percentage. So we'll lean San Jose in this game. Tampa Bay, Philadelphia, we've got Tampa Bay minus 130. Road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. The Flyers, just absolutely a brutal stretch for them. 7 straight losses. They lose to the Rangers in their last game. Now, they've had 3 days off. So the question now becomes, what do they do with those 3 days off? But a big injury suffered. Joel Farabee now out week to week for a guy that's actually been one of their bright catalysts offensively this year. 7 goals and 3 assists. So they'll definitely miss the presence of Joel Farabee in the top 6 forward group for a team that's just simply not scoring right now. This offense is completely lifeless. They have scored 0, 1, 3, 2, and 1, the Philadelphia Flyers, in their last 5 games. So the offense has struggled. The power play has been brutal. Alain Vigneault has talked about it, saying, we're just not making plays. We're not finishing. And here's a real revealing quote from Alain Vigneault. We're going to have to find a way to win games 1-0 or 2-1 until we get some of that finish that I know some of these players have. Right now, we're not seeing it. So he doesn't want to get into a track meet. That's just basically the quote that tells you in black and white right there from Alain Vigneault. We can't get in a shootout with anybody right now. So they really want to play tight, conservative hockey at the moment. They did that against the Rangers. It was a 4-1 game. It was a pretty low-scoring, tight-checking affair. That's probably what they want to do here against the Lightning. Lightning, of course, with a 3-2 overtime win Saturday against Boston. I backed the Lightning in that game. I don't know if I'll back them here. It is a desperate home underdog here, but they're just not playing well. Just like with the last game, Columbus on a losing streak. In this game, Philly on a losing streak. It's either Tampa or pass for me. I just don't love the spot back-to-back. Good chance we see probably Brian Elliott as well in net for the Lightning. Now, before we say, hey, go ahead and fade Brian Elliott tonight if he does get the start, it is his former team that he's playing in this matchup against the Flyers. And sometimes that gives you a little incentive, and sometimes that really makes you play even better than maybe you would otherwise. So it's not the automatic, bet Philly, bet the over, with Brian Elliott in net. I think he might have a little point to prove and really want to show well for himself, I guess, playing a team that he used to play for a little bit of time many years ago. So I would definitely lean here toward Tampa, laying the price, but minus 130, second of back-to-back on the road. Probably not going to do it. Probably going to pass when it's all said and done with the Lightning and the Flyers. All right, Toronto, Winnipeg. We've got Toronto minus 120. Road favorites here. 6 the total, 5.5 in some spots. Make sure you shop around, get the best of the number. I like the over here, 5.5, 6. If you can find the 5.5, if you can find it. I do like this game to go over the total. Over is 9-4 in the last 13 between these teams in Winnipeg, 19-7 to the over in the last 26 overall. And we've talked about this Leaf team, all of a sudden 4-1 to the over in their last 5 games. We talked about it yesterday on the show. The goals are starting to come in for this Toronto team. They've scored 3, 6, 4, 5, 8, and 3 in their last 6 games. So all of a sudden the offense is going for the Winnipeg Jets. They had an offensive onslaught Friday night against New Jersey, 8-4. That was a best bet, easy best bet winner for me on the Friday show with New Jersey, Winnipeg over the total. You knew it was going to happen. I've said it a long time about the Jets. Yeah, you can be concerned about Blake Wheeler because he hasn't been scoring consistently at all going back to last year. But you knew Mark Scheifele, who had a hat trick in the game against the Devils, Ehlers, Connor, guys like this are not going to stay in an offensive drought for long. They're too talented. They have too much skill. And eventually they're going to find their way to some offensive production. And certainly we saw plenty of it from the Jets against New Jersey. The hat trick for Ehlers for Scheifele rather in that game. Ehlers gets 2 goals. That's what you want to see from the Winnipeg Jets. And I think they might get some offensive confidence from that going into this game tonight against the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're probably going to see Joseph Woll in net tonight, I believe, for Toronto. Back-to-back on the road. I'd expect him to be in net. He's been good, actually. He's not an automatic auto fade. Can he keep playing at a high level is the question, but he has been very good in the few starts he's had for the Leafs this season. Mitch Marner missed the Minnesota game last night, a late absence due to a undisclosed ailment, and he has already been ruled out for this game as well against Winnipeg. So it'll be no Mitch Marner for the second straight game for the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. That being said, we saw last night still 3 goals. Jason Spezza steps up with 2 goals. Still plenty of talent and offensive ability to go around for the Leafs, even without Marner. So I think we can get there with the over in this game. Again, there's a couple books that have 5.5 to the over, minus 125. Shop around, see if you can find it. Even if you can only find 6, I still like the over here with the Leafs and the Jets. Chicago, New York Islanders. We've got the Islanders minus 155. Home favorites, 5.5 the total in this one. I would either take Chicago or pass in this game. I mean, the New York Islanders are just snake bit right now. Everything but win is what they're doing right now. The San Jose game, when they returned from their COVID pause a few days ago, a good defensive game, but they can't score. Against Detroit, they actually get 3 goals and then they can't hold a lead. And that's the way it's been for the Islanders all season long. And they lose 4-3 in overtime. It's just, this team just cannot find a way to win a hockey game right now. I don't know what else you can say. That's the bottom line. They just can't find a way to win a game at the moment. And until they do, I'm not backing them. And I'm certainly not laying minus 150, minus 155 with them, which is the price you're seeing right here with the Islanders. Chicago, on the other hand, tough one for them last night, 3-2 loss to the New York Rangers. We'll see if they can bounce back. Here's an interesting stat. The Chicago Blackhawks, since Derek King took over behind the bench after the firing of Jeremy Colleton, since that happened, The Chicago Blackhawks have not lost 2 straight games. They have not dropped 2 in a row since the coaching change. So they've been a good bounce back team. I probably will take a piece of Chicago once again, and it'll probably be Marc-Andre Fleury in net tonight against the Islanders. I would say there's a good chance of that after we saw Kevin Lankinen last night in net for the Chicago Blackhawks. So, he's been excellent lately. He had that rough start. The whole team had a rough start, but Marc-Andre Fleury has certainly been better in his last few starts. He has given up, you look at recent starts for Fleury. As I look at his games here lately, he's given up, 2 goals or less in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of his last 7 starts. So he's been a lot better. I'd expect him to be in net after Kevin Lankinen got the nod last night. Chicago for me or pass. I would take the price with Chicago here against this slumping Islanders team, or I would leave the game alone and probably might lean under the total as well in this one between the Blackhawks and Islanders. All right, Los Angeles Kings, Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton minus 185, minus 190. Home favorites, 6 the total in this game. Edmonton with a loss to the Seattle Kraken last night, or Friday night, I should say, 4-3. Disappointing loss for them. They'll be looking to bounce back here. You talk about a team that's been good off a loss. We talk about Chicago hasn't lost 2 in a row under Derek King. Oilers haven't lost 2 in a row all season. This team has not dropped 2 consecutive games at all at any point this year. So you got to like the Edmonton Oilers' chances of bouncing back with a win. They've done it every single time off a defeat this season. And now they play a slumping LA Kings team, 1-7 in their last 8 games. The only win was against a weak Ottawa team that was struggling at the time. They lose 3-2 to Calgary the other night. They actually played pretty well. They probably took the play to Calgary, especially in the third period, but could not find the back of the net. I would lean Edmonton and over here in this game between the Kings and Oilers. Series history-wise, you look at it, in Edmonton, 2 of the last 3 have gone over, 6-5, 8-4. Some big final scores, high-scoring games in those 2 of those games. I would lean to the over here, and I'd probably look at Edmonton in regulation in this game, or you could go puck line in this one with Edmonton as well. I might go a little bit more conservative, I guess you could say, in this game with the regulation bet for Edmonton, which is looks like, let me see what it is, minus 120, minus 125 with Edmonton in regulation. I definitely like that. I will be on the Oilers in regulation, minus 120, minus 125. That's the range that we currently see it right now. And lean over the total. Smaller bet, I think, on the over. I like the Oilers side a little bit more. Again, Edmonton in regulation here, minus 120 to minus 125. Kings have lost 7 of 8. Edmonton off a loss to Seattle. They haven't lost 2 in a row yet this season. And I'd expect Mikko Koskinen to be back in net. I know I saw Chris Otto. I saw a couple people talking about the Edmonton loss on Friday against Seattle, some of our Ice Guys viewers and listeners, and saying maybe Stuart Skinner might be an auto fade the rest of the season. And it's starting to look like that. He's definitely struggled lately. But as I said, I would expect Mikko Koskinen to be back in net tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. All right, we wrap it up with a great game to wrap up the Sunday card. Calgary Flames, Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas minus 120, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. This is a really tough game from a side. I'm not betting against Calgary on the road. Simple as that. I'm not doing it. 11-4 on the road. They've been road warriors all year. They've won the first 2 games of this road trip against LA and Anaheim. Close games, 3-2 and 4-3, but found a way to win. Vegas bounced back after 2 straight losses, just trounced Arizona 7-1 on Friday night. They come back home here to the Fortress and, 7-5. They've got a decent home record. It's really not a situation where I'm really excited about going against either of these 2 teams right now. You look at series history, though, one thing to point out, the last 4 meetings between Calgary and Vegas, 6-3, 6-2, 6-0, 5-3. The final scores, 3 of those 4 games going over the total. That's probably what I would look at here. The total's only 5.5. I would look maybe over 5.5. You got to think Vegas, obviously getting off the schneid offensively a little bit. 7-1 win against Arizona should help them. And again, they're much healthier offensively now with Pacioretty and Stone back in the lineup. The only guys they're still missing are William Karlsson and Alec Martinez. They've gone over the total in 4 of their last 5 games. Important to point that out. And even Calgary's gone over the total in 3 of their last 5 games as well. So even with the current form right now, we're seeing that both of these teams starting to find the back of the net, and they're not immune to giving up, a few goals in their games. Even Calgary, for as good as they've been defensively this year, they've given up a few more shots and chances in the last couple of games on this road trip that maybe Daryl Sutter would like. So definitely would be interested in over 5.5 here, Flames and Golden Knights in the final game on this Sunday card. All right, we'll wrap it up with best bets in just a second. Before we do that, we want to mention DraftKings Sportsbook, of course, our great partners here at the Ice Guys and the Hockey Podcast Network. It's an NFL Sunday. So it means it's a great time to take advantage of DraftKings. If you're a new customer, today's an NFL Sunday. Jump in, get involved with it. You'll be a winner once a single point is scored in any NFL game. New customers who bet just $1 on any team to score can win $100 in free bets. It's that simple. If DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, no worries. You can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contests. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN, bet $1 on any team to score, and win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with promo code THPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 years of age or older. New customers only. Must reside in a DraftKings Sportsbook state. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. 1 per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Sign up for an account and use the promo code THPN. All right, it's time for best bets now to wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys for this Sunday. We're going to go to, let's do Toronto, Winnipeg, over 5.5, -125. That'll be the best bet. The best bets have been just terrific for the last week or so, and we'll see if we can keep the profit train rolling down the tracks tonight. Toronto Maple Leafs, Winnipeg Jets, over 5.5, -125. That'll be your Sunday best bet here on the Ice Guys Show. And that'll wrap up this abbreviated edition of the Ice Guys Show for this Sunday. We'll have the whole crew back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Download the podcast when you can't watch the show live. I'm Ian Cameron. Enjoy the games and good luck. Have a great Sunday, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow on Monday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.